stuff.
We did do some stuff.
With Mum?
Yeah, we did. We did. I'm not sure if we did boxes though.
I mean, I know that I'm a massive control freak, but I am beginning to realise that I always just need to go over other people's teaching points again.
Yeah, but it helps us now. I mean,
Yes, it's good to get the basic.
Yeah.
Well, not basics, a different approach. Yeah. Any questions about the Bach minuet?
No.
Okay, one thing to add in if you're working in a place like this, or you would like to collaborate with a flute teacher, is that the flutes learn the minor minuet as a standalone piece in Book 2, for reasons I don't understand why it's a standalone piece, but anyway, which makes it excellent for play-togethers because it's the same key. They also learn minuet 3 as it is to us, but the numbers are different. So you can play, if you've got a flute teacher that you're working with, you can play all of that minuet, and in the same way as their less advanced kids can play in the same way as our Book 1s can, and then the more advanced can play the Book 2 while our Book 3s play.
Oh, so the Gavotte and G minor we can also.
No, not Gavotte. Minuet.
Minuet.
Okay. But I mean, as soon as anyone can play a G minor scale, I can just work out most of Gavotte and G minor. Okay, so shall we play Gavotte and G minor? And spreading your 1 and 4 a bit away from 3 and 2. Very high up there.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So, where do I need to be? Right. Okay. So, it's a very good piece to this yellow finger pattern with the hot pink 3, where your semi-tone is between 3 and 4. what the structure is.
ABACA.
Nearly.
AA.
Thank you. AABACA. And the story to help the kids remember this piece, which I find very amusing and the children love, is about a man who goes and buys a goldfish. And have you heard this before? Okay, he goes and buys a goldfish and then he's feeling very sad because the goldfish has died. This is the I'm sad about my goldfish tune. And then he realises that he can go and buy another goldfish. So he goes and buys another goldfish and then he gets sad again because that goldfish dies too. And then he gets very angry because he realises the reason his goldfish are dying is because he forgot to put any water in the tank. But he's still sad because he doesn't have any more money to go and buy any more goldfish. They love it. It's so macabre. It's brilliant. Thank you, Amy Cloggish, for teaching me that. Yes. Something along those lines is handy for the memory. Right, which bits do you think you're... Actually, no, let's not do that yet. Fours and opens, I think, are really useful in this piece. It's a very easy piece. Most people can play it really quickly. There are a few bits that are tricky, but generally, I want them to do the ornaments, so I don't teach 4 in bar 7. Or the places like that. I want them to do the grace note, the mordant. But I would highly recommend that you do the opens and the 4s all the way through where it's written. So, and all of those places is really, really handy for building that really good intonation on your 4th finger. Yep. And the open and 4 preparation is good preparation for bar 23 of Humoresque. Have a look at that. They've got to find that 4 on the A, if you play it in first position anyway. So that is getting them ready for the equivalent. All they have to do is go over another string. Do you see what I mean?
Which one was that?
23 in Humoresque. That 4.
Yeah.
Mind blown, right?
Yeah, I just could never play it in first position.
Nor would I if I was doing it in a concert. But I
But
think
you
it's
teach it,
really
so-
handy as an exercise. My students are not generally doing studies at this point yet.
Yeah.
Mostly would start doing studies in book sort of maybe towards the end of book 3, book 4.
So where's the link between bar 24 in Humoresque and Gavotte?
Bar 27 of Gavotte. And then it's 1 string over, but the 4 is in the same place with the low one before it, and then you need the G sharp rather than a D natural. It's not exactly the same, obviously. So yeah, again, like we've talked about so many times, it's a choice that you have to make between what you want them to practice in their pieces for technical development and what you want them to play in their pieces the most beautiful way they can. And I think, you know, like lots of people for Humoresque would teach the first position version, and then if they're going to do a concert, they might say, do you want to try it in third position? It's much easier and nicer. So, you know, you can do both. Anyway, back to Gavotte in G minor. Dynamics are a major teaching point in this piece, and it's particularly to do with your bow distribution. So you want to practice and teach this part at the beginning. Practice it with stopped bow, so you can see a tiny bow, roughly to the middle, about half a bow from a little bit above the middle to the bun. Sorry, done that wrong. Tiny bow, quarter of a bow, third of the bow, and that leaves you mostly the inability to speak and play at the same time. The half a bow for the last one. Yeah? And then when you... So it's the speeding bow. It's not even speed of bow.
So you start with a little bow,
Yeah.
and gradually lengthen the bow.
Yeah, exactly. Which obviously means speeding the bow because the notes are the same length. So slow, faster, faster, faster.
Well,
faster.
we usually say saving the bow and then use it for later, but you'd save the bow. But you're doing
Just planning.
planning how long or
And a reverse in bar 4, right?
Yes. I think that what they find easy is the diminuendos, and what's hard is the crescendos. But you're absolutely right. It's the reverse. Yeah. I do not like the staccato dots in bar 9. Personally, I sort of say to them, I wish they were lines. Yuck. So. I know.
So more
Why
brush.
is right? Sorry?
More brush then.
Yeah. Okay, and bar halfway through 10 is the challenge of the piece, basically, in terms of what they actually get wrong rather than not nice. This bowing. What you'll hear 90% of the time is this. So I suggest you teach it with stopped bows for quite a long time. Like as a 10 box for at least a week, and then slur it. And for some it's a very persistent problem, and for others that will fix it. But if it is persisting,
what side? Rerun the persistent problem. How's it?
so I think that you just have to go back to hooked for longer if it's not fixed by the time they slur it.
Would you start, I call that chain bowing, I don't know whether you...
Call it?
I call it chain bowing.
Oh, okay.
So that, and then,
That's a nice phrase.
Would you do it? Would you do it separate bows to start with as well, and then
I don't tend to because the notes are very easy.
Yeah.
You could, if you've got
Yeah.
someone who needs it broken down even more, definitely that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
But what I tend to find is that they can do it with the stopped bows, just thinking down, up, down, down, up, like very sort of mechanical. And then that it just sort of varies for the child as to how long they need that before they can go into smooth slurs.
Once I've done all of that, what I tend to do in review is then apply the zigzag bow to that. So start small and get bigger and get small again, or is that just too much?
Yeah, no, definitely that's correct. You've got a crescendo in there.
Yeah.
But I think that by the time they know it well enough, you can just say get louder and get quieter. They don't need to, because the thing about the beginning that is weird for them is the speedy bow. And that is also hard to make that such a diminuendo in such a short amount of time. Whereas here, just bigger bows and then small bows. It doesn't really require
Too much.
that sort of gradual speeding up of a bow over one slur. It's just like more, less.
Yeah.
Good. Any questions about that? Check you have a mobile left elbow.
I found this quite tricky for nice tuning actually.
For tuning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable with the left hand, I thought. It's the first finger thing, isn't it? Getting the first finger far enough back.
Yeah, it's a bit of those, it's a bit of
on
pigeons coming home to roost thing. What has prepared you for this piece in book 2?
It's mignon.
Musette? No. In terms of intonation?
Gavotte.
Mignon, yes. And what is your preparation for mignon? No, it's not one of the pieces in the book.
Gossec.
No.
Oh, the perpetual motion.
Perpetual motion in B flat major. If they can play perpetual motion in B flat major really beautifully, and they can play mignon really beautifully, this will be a piece of cake. If they can't, it won't. And the fours and the opens are not easy for anyone, no matter how much they've prepared those two things. That's always a new challenge. So the actual practice boxes I put in is the first 5 notes. The bar, the second full bar halfway through, 2 halfway through bar 4. For your opens and fours, and then your diminuendo. This, the one we've talked about. And then this one. And that's it.
That's always the one I miss.
Sorry?
That's always the one I miss.
What's the solution?
Isolated.
Practice it as a box. Exactly. So your preview for Humoresque, which we're not going to cover today, but we'll cover what you're going to preview, is if you are going to teach bar 23 as is written in first position, I would start that preview box like this. My turn, your turn, my turn, prepare the one, your turn. Yeah. So you're talking them through each bit and get the parent to video that so that they can join in on their turn at home. And really with a whole da-da, rest, da-da, rest, da-da, prepare, prepare, da-da-da, in between each bit. And you may, for some kids, need to do busy, busy, stop, stop, or another twinkle rhythm on those notes first. It depends. I teach the first portamento shift in bar 13 of Humoresque. So if you are going to teach that, that's the other preview that you want to do. It's how to get from here to here, starting with 3 on lightly in first position, I apologise, before you start to move your bow. Because you'll get a lot of kids who go through that for a long time before they can do proper portamento, and that's completely fine. That's on the way. Everybody clear on portamento? Yeah. Okay, good. So those are the 2 previews for Humoresque, and we will talk about shifting next week, but if you have not done lots of shifting during book 2 and 3, Humoresque is where it will show. And I always just feel so sad when I see children play all of Humoresque in first position. It's just such a lost opportunity. And storing up trouble for book 4. Any questions about those 2 preview ideas? Great, alright, lovely. So I'll see you all at 2:30. Have a lovely lunch break. It's not even raining anymore.
Crazy.